coming to you today, this Monday, June the 2nd. Y'all see how lovely it is outside? I hope y'all getting a chance to go out there to get some of the sun on your face. I'm here today with my guest, Precious Brown.
Hey, everybody.
Man, when I tell y'all today is an awesome day, we got some good stuff to talk about. We're looking forward to hearing from you ladies and some of you men. If you got some questions or you want to have us answer something, give us a call, 248-820-5053. We're right here at Out of the Mud, Inc., George F. Grundy II, James Mayfield, the greatest Mayfield, and Larry Lott. They putting it down for us, y'all. Y'all know how they get down and how they coming up out of the mud.
I love it.
I know, right? So today's topic is going to be the process of challenge and choice and change. Because we know we go through all those things that can alter or change or affect our life. I'm going to start out with a poem called Pressing Through. This touched me today because I'm trying to press through, y'all, and I might need y'all support this evening. Pressing through. When you give God the glory, you have a new start to your story. Leaning on the promise of God's word can give you hope because most of your days you are simply hanging by a thin rope. In the midst of your storm, you can lose your way. That is when you should press through, get on your knees and pray. When God at the highest peak, while you still have life and can stand on your own 2 feet, pressing through any obstacle to gain the reward is better than feeling crushed and floored. If a we can push it, you no longer have to search. Take him with you everywhere. To stop and stop trying to cut corners or take the easy route. Praise the Lord. Oh yeah, you should be screaming and shouting. What are you afraid of? What are you waiting for? Now is your time. Now is your turn. You do know that tainted souls crash and burn. Keep on stepping and walking by faith. God has a strong, righteous right hand to keep you safe. By pressing through, you can prove that the gospel lives within you. Don't let this day pass you by. Pressing through is what you should do when you're feeling down. The Lord is your shepherd. So why do you wear a frown? Believe in yourself. Victory awaits. Please don't let it pass you by. It will be a big mistake. When the pressure of life becomes too much to bear, please understand that our Lord is forgiving. He is just. Remember, He created you and I from dust. So if you are at work, at school, or at church, spread your wings like an eagle and soar. Give honor to God. His love is forever. And nevermore will pressing through be as bad as it seems. Surrender your problems, surrender your pain, because pressing through with Jesus Christ is your greatest gain. Amen.
Amen.
I really needed to hear that today for myself because the process of challenge, choice, and change has affected me in a lot of ways. This change in my life is causing me to make a choice, and this choice is causing me to change. I can switch those 3 C's any kind of way, and it's affecting me. Precious, today, while we're in this conversation, I want to know, we talked about this prior, but things that you've been through, knowing you could have, y'all hear that? Things you go through, you know you can avoid it. How do you manifest through it?
Well, first you gotta identify that identify your part.
Amen.
A lot of times we want to place blame and point fingers and not accept responsibility for the choice that you made. Right? We were
Hmm.
talking yesterday, and one of the things I said is um, the early years were tumultuous. But then there was a point right around 15, 16, I started making decisions
Hmm.
that In doing that, it caused a ripple effect throughout my life. That process, that process of like karma is real.
Oh yeah.
So all of the decisions I made in my teenage years directly affected my 20s,
Mm-hmm.
directly affected my 30s, directly affected my 40s, right?
Amen.
Until I made a different choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I began to see a difference. Began to see that change, less challenge, making better choices
Mm-hmm.
for better change,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I had to look at me first. We
Because it
talked about
starts. That's
it,
how it
it
starts.
starts with me.
Because the emotional maturity of it all is, like you said, I spoke about living in my past caused me to do the different things I'm doing in my present.
Hmm.
And my present is going to affect my future.
Hmm.
And my future is affected by what I'm doing now.
Exactly.
Because I have to live in the now and I have to learn to adapt and be more mature about my own choices and my own decisions. And that's what we're trying to get the message out. We're women empowering other women. And again, if men out there you listening, you got an idea or what you see, maybe for this, maybe you can make it better by learning the process of change and the choice that causes a change in everybody and they
So I think that a lot of times we don't want to face the challenge. We don't make a choice. That's why if you ever notice when it's time to make a decision, to choose something, "Ooh, let me call this person. Ooh, let me see
yeah.
what they think. Ooh,
Mhm.
let me oh,
But then
let
when you
me
get too
Google
many
it."
opinions,
Then you
what you gonna do?
still gonna be stuck, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's very important to not only to myself, but to women all over the world,
All over.
is to really accept those 3 C's. They gonna go together. It doesn't and when we say challenge, it doesn't have to be a heartbroken,
Right.
something
Right. A battle.
grand. Yeah,
Right.
a battle. It is just, opposition.
There we go.
You
There we
get
go.
you have opposition in various things, even the good things,
Mhm.
right? Sometimes invited me to the podcast many times before now,
Yes.
but my schedule, right? That's a
Mhm.
challenge. Me trying to juggle all of what I do and having to find the time, choosing to find the time
Yes.
to make this because I know it can help somebody. It's going to change a
Mhm.
life
And I
somewhere.
think it does because not only do we have people not calling in, a handful of you call in, we have people putting messages online, and we're trying to be able to figure out a way to incorporate those in and respond to you all because that helps us all become powerful as a unit.
Hmm.
We're powerful as a unit than we are individual. I'm an individual, but I need assistance.
Absolutely.
I need the help of my sisters. I need the help of my brothers. And I'm not saying help like give me hold my hand and help me down the way, but when you see something out of line in my lifestyle, don't
Hmm.
be afraid to bring it to my attention in a positive way.
Hmm.
I accept positive. Most people accept positive,
Constructive criticism.
constructive criticism positively better
Hmm.
than putting them down. That's like accepting your responsibility on your own part of what you do. Don't point
Exactly.
the fingers blaming somebody. We talked about the name blaming, like
Hmm.
if it wasn't for you doing that, then I wouldn't do this.
Mm-mm.
You
Mm-mm.
made that choice.
Because the truth of the matter is, no one can make you do anything. The one
Absolutely.
thing that I've tried for years to get people in my circle to understand is somebody can do something and you feel a way, right? But they didn't make you feel that way.
Mhm.
That's when you have to check you. Okay, why does this bother me?
Mhm.
Why did that offend me? Why am I so angry about this?
Yes.
Because 9 times out of 10, I can almost guarantee it's not about what they did or said.
Absolutely. You know what that's leading right up to? Pay attention to who you talk to, your
Uh, uh,
surroundings, or the
uh,
people you with. You have to learn to accept what others do and deal with how you respond. And then keep in mind the person that you're talking to or
mhm,
dealing with. You have to.
you have to.
That's a major one right there.
Because here's the thing, if you know that you're dealing with a person that does not receive criticism, positive or negative,
Correct.
very well without the blow up situation. I know that might not be a real word, but there you
That's all
go.
right. Blow up situation. We're gonna say that
Without
today.
blowing up, then you may want to address them in a different way. You
Exactly.
may want to have a conversation or write them a letter, or include a mediator, right?
Uh-huh.
Because a lot of times, and I said this before, we listen to respond
Hmm.
and not to understand,
Yes.
right? So it's almost like double dutch. If you think of it like double dutch, okay, I'm hearing you talking, and in my head, yep, I gotta address that. Yep, I gotta
Ready
address
to
that.
jump in.
I haven't heard anything you said.
All I know is what I want to
I'm not
address.
acknowledging your feelings and how you're telling me what I did and how it affected you.
Right.
I'm just trying to rebut what you said because that's not true. That's not true. But a lot of times, if we just take a moment,
Yes.
just take
Just
a
a moment.
moment and say, you know what? I just want to hear you out.
Hmm.
I'm not going to say
And fully
anything.
commit to hearing them because conversation is key.
Absolutely.
Conversation and human communication.
Hmm.
You got to learn how to communicate with people while you're having a conversation with them.
Absolutely.
Because then you have that, okay, I'm going to absorb what you're saying. I'm going to
Hmm.
hear you out. And I'm going to let you speak your piece. And then I want you to give me the same respect.
Exactly. And here's another thing, a big thing in communication. Don't be afraid of silence.
Hmm.
A lot of times we go back and forth because nobody wants to just sit with what was said.
Uh-huh.
It either makes you uncomfortable or again the phrase "I feel some type of way" or
You want the last word.
"I want the last word" or you not understanding me. No, it's just one of the things I always say is if I'm in a heated situation, I say,
Hmm.
give me a minute because I know the inside of me, and she
Hmm.
be rearing up, right? And to keep that from happening, give me a minute.
Yes.
Let me process what just happened. Let me think about, how I want to respond or if I want to respond because everything doesn't need a response.
Now that right there, I can tell you how many times I feel like that. I had to learn that myself.
Hmm.
I'm not privy, not polished enough to say that it doesn't happen to me and I haven't done it. Like we talked about, you got to learn to
Hmm.
forgive yourself. I'm
Absolutely.
learning to forgive myself for the things that I lashed out about, and I'm learning to accept my responsibility. Hence, what I'm going through in this day and age right now. I'm
Hmm.
learning to accept my responsibility and deal with it at hand. But I'm also knowing that I could have avoided that situation.
Absolutely.
I could have avoided it
By making a different
by
choice.
making a different choice. Um, I remember one of the biggest key things about me is I want to be a friend to someone, but I want them to be that kind of friend to me.
Mhm.
And when they're not that kind of a friend to me, then I figure out, well, maybe I need to do something different. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. No, maybe I need to just say, take it for what it is and back off and be like, okay, if you're not responding to me
Mhm.
as I'm responding to you, you want to be confrontational. You want to have the last word. You want to be the one empowered over the simple conversation
Mhm.
that we could have took a moment and said,
Give me a minute. Y'all at work. Hold on. Just give me a minute. I want to circle back real quick. Two things. One, I see some people, y'all online. Go to the In the Mud,
out of the
Out of the
mud
Mud
ink.
Inc. page so we can see your comments. I do see some of y'all are here, but I can't see the comments. The second thing I want to circle back to real quick is sometimes we are triggered.
Ooh, yes.
Sometimes we are triggered
Hmm.
with a conversation, a smell, a situation. It takes you back. Um, I had a very recent trigger that took me a couple days to come out of,
A
and
couple days.
a couple days. Yeah, it was it talk, but it was a couple days to because it was so jarring that I had to sit with me.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
had to say, "Okay, God, what is this? Why did you bring this back? And
Oh,
what am I supposed to do with it now?"
I know that all too
And I
well.
had to address what I had buried. right?
Mhm.
I had
Mhm.
to address
Mm.
what I had buried, and what I had buried had caused challenges in my life. It
Yes.
had made me make negative choices, and it caused changes on various right?
Right.
So don't be afraid to sit with yourself. I think I said that on the last podcast.
We say
You
it a
have
lot of times that
to
we gotta get the message
sit
out there.
with yourself. Listen, we're talking about challenges, choices, and change. If
The
you want to,
process of it.
the process of it, this is the
This
process.
is the process.
Sitting with yourself is one of the most rewarding things you could ever do.
Mm, mm,
And
mm.
it took me 2 days, I'm circling back. It took me 2 days to come out of it because I had to deal with that situation. It was a situation for me from when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
Didn't think it was a problem no more. And been to therapy. I'm an advocate of therapy. Y'all go to therapy. If you
All
need
right.
somebody to talk to that's professional, go to therapy.
Yes.
Had done that, thought I was fine. And then this situation happened and I was 16 again,
Ooh,
instantly. And it was
triggers.
triggered. And I chose, instead of burying it, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. I said, okay, God, what we doing with this?
Mm,
This came up now for a reason.
mhm,
What how do I move in this? How do I finally release it? And
mm.
the first thing that dropped in my spirit is it's not your fault.
Man. You
It's
know what?
not your fault. A lot of times
Mm,
on we take on
mhm,
responsibilities that's not ours.
mhm. I'm happy that you're saying that because absolutely, I feel like that these last couple weeks. I told you,
Mhm.
Monday and Tuesday were hard days for me last week. I mean, I was in my room, locked myself in my room basically in tears because of a bad choice I made almost 3 years ago that now I'm like you. It's boom, right here in my face. I can't bury it. I can't
Mhm.
run from it. I can't hide it. I have to face it. And that bad decision that I took on someone else's issue, that bad decision has cost me a lot of money, a lot of
Mhm.
time. It is ripping my heart. It's just because I know I'm a better person than what I'm going through, but I'm thankful that I'm not what I used to be, and I
Mhm.
don't look like what I used to look like, and I don't
Mhm.
feel like that. But I have to face it, and that challenge that's at my door right now is causing so many changes that the next choices I make have to be very crucial, very
Strategic.
strategic. I
Have
have
to be
to, or
strategic.
I will. I don't. I'm not gonna say I will fail, but I will find myself
Mhm.
like you said,
Mhm.
16 again.
Mhm.
My trigger would have me back in 2022 again.
Absolutely.
Can't let that happen. So, ladies, gentlemen out there, call us 248-820-5053, or get on Out of the Mud Inc. on Facebook. Type in a little line, let us know what you think, what you hear. If it sounds like something you understand, you want to discuss and talk about, that's what we down here for. We got a few more minutes on this mic, so
Mhm. Mhm.
let's get to it though.
I want to circle back real quick. Y'all
Go
know I
right
like
ahead.
circling back. If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know.
Uh, so I want to circle back. One of the things you said was you have to forgive yourself. We
Yes,
talked about this: forgiving others, people, places, and things, and forgiving yourself.
yes,
And I want to add to that in that process of forgiving yourself, because I had to forgive myself for a lot of things as a parent, right? I didn't
yes.
do a lot of things right. I was a teenage mom. I
Amen.
had several children, and I was still trying to live my life, right? Because I was, you know,
But hey, that's it right there.
yeah,
I'm talking the process.
that was the process. And in the process, unintentionally, there was some. I dropped the ball on some stuff. And I thank God that I'm so close to my kids that we have these conversations, right? And one of the things that came up is for some reason I asked my daughter, I said, did you, because after I left their dad, um, everybody assumes a role, right? But I never wanted to put my kids in a position to where they had to be the parent. So we were talking, and I asked my daughter, I said, well, do you ever feel like I made you, or that you missed your childhood because you had to do things around the house or keep an eye on your brothers and I thank God she was honest enough with me to say, "Yeah, no, because I wanted her to know, 1, I'm not perfect, and 2, your feelings are
They do
valid.
matter.
They do matter,
Yeah.
and how you feel and what you thought, not only in that situation, but along because I'm sure some of that shaped things that she went through.
The challenges you've been through, the
Exactly.
choices you made, and the changes that caused all of that does affect the kids. And you're right.
Absolutely.
It took me to be in my mid-40s before I started realizing and comprehending that what you just said is absolutely what a
Mm,
lot of young mothers and young fathers need to pay attention for.
yeah.
These children have a voice. I'm a firm believer of the youth. So the things that we do as adults, we don't think about affect our children. I just spoke
Mhm.
with was Mike outside a minute
Outside, I was
ago,
just finna say
and
that.
he
Mhm.
said when being a child, your parents tell you don't do
Don't
that because I
question me.
said don't do it,
Mhm.
don't question me, just do it. And he said, but when he got grown, that's the first thing he ran to do. Everything they told him. So think about it. That's what happens to us as women when we're raising our children. It's like we're here to break the stronghold, break the cycle,
Cycles.
break. We need to get back to the basics where family is love. It ain't got
Absolutely.
nothing to do with money. It ain't got nothing to do with who look better than who. The
Mhm.
love is gonna outlast all of that. And I'd
Mhm.
rather be rich in love than rich in money. I need the money, don't get me wrong.
Don't
I ain't
get it
rich. Don't get it twisted. I need it to sustain myself. That's it. I ain't trying to get rich. I mean, what's the best thing you can do? I'm gonna tell you, Charlize McBride, I hope you're watching. If you you said a lot of powerful things um, throughout the podcast days that we're doing together. We getting you back on soon. But one of the things is you mentioned yesterday, you all missed it. You missed a good show at the Urban Cafe. I had an having one
It
again on
was
June
good
22nd.
music.
It's not the club. I'm telling you, it's not the club. I'm not club. What I'm in there doing is real blessings to RBT in the manner of for people,
Absolutely.
right? What Charlene has been doing, working really hard at doing her business, which is called I always we want to forget the name of it. I am so sorry. I can't even look it up. I just told you what it is.
She a
Uh,
tax accountant, I know
she,
that.
please forgive me, but I'm gonna find it because I want to say what it is. And I won't say it's Soaring Eagle because I know it's not no Soaring Eagle. But um, the things that she's doing, I mean, this lady, when I met her, she was doing this and giving good pointers to people about their taxes, making sure that you understand some of it. And it's such a beautiful picture. I wish I could show y'all the picture. It's such a beautiful picture of the child with
Yes.
his arms.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
and
is
it's
nice.
beautiful. But the things that she's doing also, it ain't just for women, but yes, we all women trying to help each other.
Absolutely.
Then I have Tamika Thompson, Buford Thompson, who's doing the same thing for mentoring. Precious does the same thing with her mentoring. My mentoring is a little different. I'm learning from all of you all, even though I know we pretty much come from different walks of life, but we all walk in that same path.
Mhm.
Then I got Margi Marquita. You all know her out there. She's got nice music and tunes and going on, and a lot of her music
Yes,
is
I
positive and can cheer her up and got positive things going on. All
mhm.
these women that I'm trying to surround myself with is helping me build my character to make better choices, better decision making on my challenges,
Mhm.
and also being prepared for the change to come.
Absolutely.
That's why we
Absolutely.
all need each other as a unit. We're
Mhm.
prepared for this change. I'm going to give my daughter a shout out. As a nurse studying to be doing her doctorate of nursing, Dr. Brown.
All
But
right, come
anyway,
through,
I know
Doctor
that's right.
Brown.
And then I have my son, who he's very talented when it comes to thinking how to set stuff up to move and doing things like that. He's a great dad, you know. And then our world is set to that's empower men, like
Mhm.
Dante Love. I'm gonna give him a shout out. He's doing men motivating men.
Mhm,
I
mm,
did that speaking at that sobriety, and I loved it. And I saw a lot of men that came up and told testimonies of themselves. So they women out here telling the truth about themselves
mhm.
because the truth is what's going to set us free.
Absolutely.
When you live a lie, when you tell a lie, you live a lie.
Mm,
And when you tell those
mm,
lies and you live in those lies, guess what? When they catch up to you, it's coming.
and it's a negative change, right?
Yes,
I want to encourage everybody that's listening to really, I say this all the time, self-reflect. Um, again, a lot of the challenges that we have are not because of anybody other than us,
correct.
right? So I want to share just a simple way that you can begin to accept responsibility, hold yourself accountable for um, the things you do. And I know in the heat of the moment, we can say, baby, this tongue, the word is like a double-edged sword, right? It will cut you coming and going out.
Hmm.
But when you begin to make the shift into the person that you desire to be, not if you just desire to be who you are, don't want to grow, this conversation is not for you.
And you
I'm
know what? Be honest with yourself because there's a lot of people that's not honest with themselves,
mhm,
and they're the ones that's causing most of these ripples.
mhm, mhm.
Because
I
that
agree.
smile in your face and all that, and it makes you smile. Oh, I wish he just fall over. Oh, I can't stand when she say that. You know what?
And you know what I say?
Well,
Bless her heart, all her parts, or his parts.
however,
But here's the thing: when we begin to accept
there we
own
go.
own what you add, right? Even if it's not like I didn't even do nothing. Did you not do nothing
Or
really?
what you
Or
say.
is that your perception
Uh-huh.
that you didn't do it? So here's what you do. You can reflect before you react. Reflect
Ooh,
on what happened
that's good.
before you I came from an era where we didn't do a lot of talking. We gonna throw hands, right? Say that,
I had to put my head down for a minute because I was in that era.
right? So it wasn't a lot of and y'all I want you from the bottom of my heart. It is because I've lived through it and know I know I know how she changed and I know who she is now, right?
That's a red light.
So reflect before you react. I was a reactor. Say the wrong thing to me, it's up. You get smart, look funny, it's up. Like because that what I learned is that was my defense mechanism
Mhm.
from having to defend myself
Mhm.
through various situations, right?
Yes. Yes.
So reflect before you react. Examine your part. Own your
Own it.
examine what part did I play. Now, if you playing in bed and somebody coming and whacking on you, yeah, but if there's an argument and you won't shut up, part. I'm just saying because I know it's hard to walk away.
It is.
I
It
know
is.
it's hard to walk away.
Especially in the heat.
Ooh, baby, and especially when it done got you hot up under the collar, like right here, you feel that little sting right there. You like, ooh, I'm
When your hands doing
itching
like
and
this
yeah,
and you're nervous.
but
Yeah.
you have to examine your part. What did you do to add to the conflict challenge? What say you? The next one is apologize with action. A lot of times people are like, I'm sorry. For what?
Mhm.
What you sorry for? Do you even know what you did to me? Or what you said to me?
Are you deflecting the
Or are you
situation by just
deflecting?
saying,
Just saying I'm
"I'm
sorry
sorry"?
so we can get past it.
Mhm.
So apologize with action. That with action is I'm sorry for block. I'm sorry for
Y'all hear
cussing you
that?
out. I'm sorry for disrespecting you. I'm sorry for lying. Say what it is.
Be wholesome with yourself and your thoughts. I just told my granddaughter that yesterday. I was in trouble because so happy. She just riding her bike and she rode out without looking both ways. And my son was mad at her. So he made her put her makeup. And she came in the house, that face was dark skinned, baby. And I saw the red and the steam. And she just stumped and stumped in the room and got ready to go to the I said, hey, got her face together because I couldn't don't talk to me. Fine, I can't hear you. And I'm not gonna get upset. And calm down. Tell me what's wrong. And she said, my daddy yelled at me because he said I was looking at the car. And I said, well, honey, what did you do? She was like, I was riding my bike, but it wasn't there when I looked at her. I said, well, you do know cars will kill you. They don't pay attention. And I said, come ride with me. I let her ride with me. She said, is it because people be drinking? I said, yes, ma'am. Or on their phone. I said, yes, ma'am. Some people don't be paying attention or reaching for stuff and doing things. I said, so when we get back, you go to your daddy, you tell him that you're sorry that you rode out in the street without looking. Don't do it again and ask him to ride your bike.
Mm.
That's me, how I'm teaching not just my grandchildren, but any young person that's coming up. Because I understand when I would chastise my own children,
Mhm.
I didn't know
Mhm.
how to come back
And
and apologize because I'm the mom. Why
right.
should I have to
Yeah.
apologize? So now my mom and dad teach me
Mhm.
to apologize for my wrongs. I cover them up, ignore them, press them down, and
Mhm. We're gonna talk about that just real quick. I want to give y'all this last thing on how to accept your accountability, and then I want to go into that part,
okay,
that right there,
I'm with it.
saying I'm sorry to your children. So
Mhm.
the last one is lead with love.
Mm.
Make sure you are leading with love. There's no angst in your heart. No. Uh, your tone is left right because a lot of times well, I'm gonna speak for me. A lot of times I would say things and it could be in a harsh tone, and I know it, right? I knew it was in a harsh tone because that's the way I meant to say it.
Okay.
But accepting that was wrong, and I'm sorry for talking to you like that, right? And then address the situation. So that's how you can hold yourself accountable. I want to roll into apologizing to your children.
All right. Let's go.
So many times, um, we feel that we're right because we're the adult.
Mhm.
We feel that we're right because I've been there. I know how it is. Times have changed.
Yes, we know that.
Things are different,
Yes.
right? And children are people too.
Mhm.
Let's keep it real.
Little people.
Little
They
people,
have
but they
thoughts. They have
people.
feelings.
They have emotions.
Mhm.
They have dreams.
They
They
have
have
triggers.
absolutely. So anybody that's out there listening, think about if there is something that has happened with you, and this is a way to really begin to bond with your children, right? This is a way for you to, um, if you have a bad relationship with your kids, if they're adults, this is a way that you can start bridging that.
Mm.
Apologize.
Yes.
Say I'm sorry.
I just told my daughter that today
Like and
on a
don't
different level.
mean it.
Oh yeah, I meant it.
And mean it.
Mm.
You've when I told my daughter I was sorry, I think she wanted to just break down. Probably because she never thought she needed an apology for it. But more so, it released me from feeling like
Mm.
I did something wrong,
Mhm.
right? Because that was never my intent. It was just now it's just me.
You
I
forgave
need y'all
yourself.
help.
Yep.
So I had to forgive myself. I had to apologize to her. And I think we got even closer after that. And yes, that's a minute situation in some people's eyes, but to her it was affecting her everyday life,
Mhm.
right? The things my
Mhm. The
mom
3
did.
C's.
Exactly.
I'm
The
telling you,
things my mom
those
did.
are powerful
I
letters.
know that this is going if I do this is gonna happen, right? So when you are trying to or when you begin to accept responsibility for your actions,
Yeah.
your behavior, what you say, what you do, part of that is apologizing.
Mm.
And I know in our climate today, a lot of people don't want to apologize.
No,
A lot of people don't,
they think that shows their raw toughness of them.
or a weakness.
Look,
Apologizing is
I,
not
what
weakness.
we got on here? Check your vulnerability.
Mm,
Check your
that's
strong attributes. Check your weaknesses. Check the things that do not matter,
mm,
things that influence you to do things that you either have trust in or no trust in.
mhm.
We have to check those. We have to like get out a checklist out and do some checkpoints.
Exactly.
You know?
We were talking about that yesterday about doing things that you don't want to do. A
Yes.
lot of that causes challenges in your life. A lot of that causes you to make bad choices. A lot of that causes changes in you or around you that you didn't want. So, what are those things, right? I shared a story with Terralisa about a person that's really close to me that called me one day, wanted me to do a thing, and I was like, no. First time ever, I was like 45, y'all, right? First time ever I told this person no. They got heated with me, and I stood on my no. That's another thing. Let your yes be yes
And
and
your
your
no
no be
be
no.
no.
And I
Mm.
stood on my no. And even in the process of that, of me standing on my no, in my head, I was like, well, I should, because I felt like if I didn't want that person to be mad
Because that challenge
because
was
that
there now.
challenge was there. And now it's going to change the dynamic of our relationship
Oh, Lord have
because
mercy.
I made the choice to do what I wanted to do.
Exactly.
Right. So be prepared for those type of situations.
That's why we call it the process. Because it's a process to get through each of those three C's has a process of its own. And you have to learn how to manifest this process. And it's scary. It's, but it's doable. It's
And
not
it may
maybe a
take a
person to
while.
reach. Yeah, it's
It
not
may
that
take
far
a
in reach
while.
from you. You know, another thing I want to talk about is when you walk in your own authority. You
Hmm.
stood on your yes, I mean on your no, and you walked in your I walk in my authority. I think sometimes people think I'm better than me, or I'm standing on a pedestal. No, I'm not. I just know what I cannot accept to change me because of what you're doing. I can't let what your life change my life. I
Hmm.
can't let what you're doing cause a challenge. I can't let what you're doing make me make a choice that may not be beneficial for me.
Hmm.
And that's where I have to learn to draw the line.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
standing on and walking on my authority.
Absolutely. And when we talk about authority, it is um, walking in your you-ness. And I know
Oh,
that's not a word.
you just jumped from it.
Walking in
In your
your
you.
you-ness, right? And what I mean by that is because at that moment in time, I knew who I was. I knew what I wanted to, which was nothing. I was just laying on the couch. I just didn't want to get up and go nowhere. I didn't want to put on no clothes. I didn't want to be around people. I wanted to lay on my couch and watch Law and Order. And that's what I did. And although it caused a rift in the relationship, right? That was the choice of the person. I didn't. I said what I said. I'm not coming, and we can let it be that, or we can not talk for a couple months. Whatever you choose, but be okay. Don't allow anyone else's actions or reactions
Yes.
to your choice change your decision.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, oh my goodness, that is so powerful. Because again, the life that I'm going through right now, I thought I put all these bad things behind me.
Mm,
I've been doing nothing but good things for the public, for people. If someone needs me, I'm there. I'm trying to keep everything about me on the up and up and not falling back into my old ways.
mhm,
And
mhm. Slip, slide, diving, and scheming.
then that trigger is,
Mm,
I mean, it's a mental trigger,
it is.
but it's also my mental issue
Mm,
because I got to learn that this trigger that I'm having mentally, I can cause it to stop. I can shut it off by doing exactly what you said.
absolutely.
Me time, tea time.
Exactly.
I'm having some tea time. Even if it means sit down and don't answer my phone for a few hours. That don't mean blow up everybody else's phone because if something's wrong, and you travel fast.
Mhm,
Trust
mhm.
me. But every once in a while, people need to sit back and take a moment to yourself. And speaking of taking a moment to yourself, I'm going to give a shout out to MUA Jock. Look for her for your. check her out on my life is makeupismylife.com. And you give us a call here at Love Inc. 248205053. Still always, and what we want to do is give a shout out to James Winfield of Georgia, Grundy the second, and Larry Lott, who will be coming, I believe, coming on after today's show.
Okay.
So tune in to him too. Well, tune into all the podcasts. I say this all the time because the thing we want to do,
Absolutely.
everybody has a message. And with this message, everybody get it out there. The other thing is, what we need to discuss is we talked about being a follower and a leader.
Mm,
You mentioned to me that you have to be both.
you have to be a good
Elaborate
leader.
on that,
A good leader.
okay?
Period. Um, you can lead to a certain extent. That's within your wheelhouse, your capability, your knowledge, your time, what have you.
Okay.
But at some point, because none of us know it all, right?
Uh-huh.
We have to learn. And when you're in the learning position, you are following. You are following the teacher, whatever the teacher may be, whether it's a professor, it's a parent, it's whoever you're learning from,
Okay.
right?
Right.
And in order for you to be a great leader, you have to be able to shift into right?
Mm-hmm.
I love being in a room when I'm not the smartest person.
Oh, that's right.
When there are people that are around me that can say, "Yeah, you're doing good. That's real good, but ooh, just make this adjustment."
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Ooh, just say this
I
differently.
feel you got to learn
Okay,
something new every day.
every day. Don't do this particular thing. Instead of that, do this.
Yes.
Right? Because I am a leader in my own right, but I'm open to following. If you giving me information, direction, education that will enhance what I do, absolutely. I have no problem saying, "Hey, I'm gonna do
Yep.
what they
Let me.
said."
I just told. I'm gonna give him a shout out. His name is David. I do stand up storytelling. I was unfortunately unable to do it this last Saturday. However, I love doing that, and I love talking to him because he's such a great mentor.
Mhm,
I'm going to say this in the aspect of because one thing I learned is that being resilient means you're going to face a lot of things, trials, tribulations, ups, downs, whatever. But the biggest thing that you cannot do is to move forward.
mm,
Well, and I think that that's part of the problem with a lot of people. They are afraid to move forward, which
mhm,
means what you just said. Oh, I know how to talk to people. I know how to write a book. But maybe it may be somebody else that got another suggestion for me to move forward. But no, I don't want them to tell me what to do because it's like they're telling me what to do. And you're scared to look
mhm, mhm,
and accept what they're offering you because one, that oh, they trying to change the way I do things. They think they're better than mine. Three, they don't want to see me succeed. I think all comes up as a
mhm, mhm.
and then they start what is the word you say? They listen to respond.
Absolutely.
After a certain point, they done listening to what you trying to teach them how to do something. 'Cause it ain't
Mhm.
what they plan was because they're scared to move.
For me, um, I was afraid to move forward on several, right? It wasn't until and this is what Tara mentioned earlier about surrounding yourself people that
Mhm.
will when I first started my entrepreneurial journey the first time, the
Excited
first
because you didn't give up. That's a
right,
good thing.
the first it was just me. I was solo dolo. I'm doing it on my own. And guess what? They got me so far. But then I got to a point to it was like, okay, I need to connect with somebody else that might know a little more than I did. So I started attending conferences and different types of events where I could network with people and get to meet
Mhm.
people and things like that. And eventually that stuckness that I felt was no longer there
Right.
because I opened myself up to receive, right? I opened
Mhm.
myself up to receive something that I didn't have, some stuff I didn't even know I needed, right?
Exactly.
But had I kept myself in my solo dolo role, I'm gonna do this my way. This is my stuff. Ain't nobody gonna tell me nothing.
Right.
If I'd have stayed there, I would have never gotten here,
Hmm.
right? Because that was in when did I start? In 2015, 2016,
I think
eh,
2015. That's when I wrote
2015.
my first book.
Okay,
2015.
so 2015. So we talking 10 years later.
Hmm.
Had I stayed in that same
Hello.
mindset, right? That's a huge
Hmm.
part of all of this. The mindset that you're in. If you do not allow yourself to grow mentally, emotionally, and physically, you will remain stuck.
Exactly.
Part of getting out of that stuckness is accepting responsibility and holding yourself accountable.
That's right. Women, empowering women, the process of challenge, choice, and change. I know y'all got something to say out there. 248-820-5053. If you ain't getting through on the line, pick up the phone and give us a call. Let it ring in here. We can hear you. Just give us a call. Because yesterday at my event is Real Blessings Thrive, RBT production. And that's real RBT is Real Blessings Thrive. Charlisa King Cloud stood there and told everybody who attended about Summit Legacy and
Mhm.
what she's offering to do. And out of that crowd, two people inquired what she's doing. Tamika Buford Thompson. Every time she's there, when we talk about what she's doing, she's gotten so many different women and men contacted her about helping and assisting. That's what we're doing. Real Blessings Story. We're trying to grow together.
Mhm.
When Precious got on the mic and let everybody know that. So now she can connect with several people at my event or just whoever
In
was there
general.
in
Mhm.
general. To know that this is why we do this. When I do that because I want to get a message out there. Everybody don't have that opportunity to go somewhere and tell their story
Absolutely.
or get people to call them or follow them.
And everybody not gonna let you on their stage. I just want to put that out there too.
Yeah.
But I want to read some of the comments. Dree said, "Everybody not meant to be in your life forever. There's seasons." And that's very true. Different people are come and go in your life. See, one of the things, and I just want to sit right here for a second because
Be
I
listening.
know one of my greatest challenges was allowing someone that was seasonal, trying to make them a forever fixture, right?
Oh, I like that.
A forever
You
fixture.
cleaned that up real good. That was
Thank
a
you,
hot mess, and you done cleaned that
girl.
whole messy meal up.
Okay, so in doing so, it took years. It
I
took
believe you.
years because I was gonna make that thing
I was
permanent.
lost in the song.
Okay, so why am I sharing that? I'm sharing that because a lot of times we don't want to really assess relationships. We don't want to. Well, I did not want to say this person can't go with me. This person is not supporting me in a way that I need it. And
Mm,
it's okay to outgrow relationships, right? When it's time, they'll come back together. We sitting here.
right. Jeree
They'll
just
come
said
back
that too.
together.
People in your life for a season.
Yeah,
We got Keela. Hey, Keela, how you doing, girl? She said, "Triggers show us what we need to work on."
there you go.
I agree. I agree because, like you
Wholeheartedly.
said earlier, if it's something that's causing you to react, what do
Hmm.
you need to work on? I
Yeah.
I shared a trigger with Precious. I ain't gonna share it with y'all though, but because it was harsh. But I'm working really hard about that trigger so I don't
Hmm.
have that issue. Because obviously, like Keela said, I got to work on me then.
Yeah.
And I said that. I said, maybe I'm aggressive.
It's
I know
always
I
a you.
am, but
It's always a you thing.
it's always a you
Not
thing.
not me pointing the finger at you. It's always a you thing.
Yeah, okay.
Pointing at self. It's always a you thing. So if you get triggered, if you are angry, if you um feel rejected or abandoned, that's not coming from that particular situation. right then is deeper than that. I
Hmm.
can almost guarantee you every single time there's something else there.
Wow.
And so many times I know in my life, I didn't want to look at what the root cause of that trigger was. I just wanted to deal with it right then. So I can move on, I can go on about my business, and I can be great, right? But in doing that, I stifled myself
Okay.
because it would come up again in a different way. It would come up again in a different
Yes, you
setting.
just said that.
It would come up again. It's not
16.
gonna go away.
No,
It's not gonna go away.
I'm agreeing with that. Mine's not going away.
That's it.
You know, I know somebody. Okay, I got a guy in here. George, come aboard. I need to know your opinion about process, challenge, choice, and change from a male's point of view.
Here you come,
Okay.
y'all.
You said process.
The
The
process,
process of challenge, choice, and change. Now, in what perspective? Like, be more specific to me. Like, what do you
um,
want to?
in a man's perspective, how many things that has happened in your life that caused a challenge for you, that challenge caused a choice and you had to deal with a change? How easy was it for you to transition to do that, or how you make the decision to make a better choice about this change?
I,
Just kind of what we're talking about.
I believe one of the biggest issues that we have is, as humans, our emotions.
Mm,
So emotions create the challenges and cause us to make certain choices, and then we have to change according to those things that we chose to do because we were in our feelings.
mhm,
So, uh, relationships with people are the biggest thing that we have. So those are the things that cause us to make those choices a
mm,
lot of times, whether it be a job, whether it be a personal relationship, and being accountable and mindful. I think
I was going to ask
mindfulness
you
is
that.
the hugest thing. Mindfulness is being mindful of the decisions that you're making, regardless of how you feel.
mm,
Because when you're in your feelings,
mm.
you
Talk about
miss up.
Mhm.
it
But
every time.
after you do something, you have to be accountable for those things, regardless of how embarrassed you are, regardless of how it causes you to look
Mhm.
to the public. You have to be accountable. You have to be able to apologize. You have to be able to stand on whatever it is that you started.
Okay. So you kind of agree with what we're saying.
Accountability and
Absolutely.
mindfulness
Mhm.
to me are the
So,
hugest things.
in general, question for you: um, we know that changes and choices and challenges affect everybody. When you know that somebody has triggered you that affects a change for you, that caused you to make a choice, and now it's a challenge. How do you deal with the triggers that you come about? Like Precious said a moment ago. Sometimes you have to give me a moment.
Give me a minute.
Do you take a moment away from this heated conversation, or are you the one that's like the pit bull in it? Is keep going.
It depends on the situation.
Okay.
So most of the time, I have to verbalize, in order because my personality looks like a light
Oh,
switch.
personality. That's a good thing
Mm,
to throw in
So
there.
I try to be as cool, calm, and collected as possible. When I'm triggered, it's a whole different beast, and um, that can get me in trouble. So I have to be verbal. I have to say, look, there's something going on. I just got triggered. Um, Nothing to do with you, but I have to be mindful of the situation so we can kind of tell or do something different, or I gotta leave, or I just gotta be
That
quiet.
goes along with taking accountability of the person you're talking to, who you're
mhm,
speaking with,
mhm.
and what kind of conversation you're expecting to have out of this. Because we both said that communication and conversation are two different things.
Right, right. Like I had a situation 2 weeks ago. I was at a restaurant and somebody was saying something indirect, but it was about me. And I was trying to ignore it. And I said, "Are you addressing me? Are you talking about me?" And it's a room full of people, so I'm it automatic. I'm saying
Ah,
if you really want it, it doesn't matter who's here. It don't matter who you got and what biker club you with. It don't matter. Look,
right.
what we doing? So I had to calm down uh, and walk away
Okay.
uh, because I was at the point of going all the way.
Okay.
So I had
About
to
to lose yourself in the sauce, like, yeah.
I was lost. I was real. The flashing light in front of you, that's where I was. So I had to catch myself, be mindful of everything, and actually, I wasn't. I was that's verbal. I wasn't violated. So you say what you want to, you didn't violate, and then when I addressed, you didn't try to respond. You stayed
But see,
over
you
there.
was adult, you was mature enough.
I was immature. I shouldn't have
But you,
even responded.
there you go. See, that's another one. You
That's
said about
accepted
responding,
responsibility.
but you were committed enough to know that you could avoid that conversation, and you knew better to avoid what was could potentially happen. So you
Right.
chose to walk away. You made a good choice from a bad challenge
Right.
that caused the change in your attitude that day.
And then I had to reflect on why I got my feelings like that.
Self.
So yeah. So and then when I pinpointed it, I had to collect all of my emotions and throw them out because one emotion will lead to another emotion to lead to a conflict just because something happened a week ago or something.
Yeah.
So I verbalize a lot of stuff. Some people say you shouldn't talk to yourself, but I talk through my situations so I can verbalize and visualize. Like, why did I do that? Or what's going on? Why am I feeling like this?
I do that too.
Yeah,
People say you're crazy when you talk to yourself, but
yeah,
I don't think so.
I have whole
I, I,
conversations
I
through.
think everybody,
We
people
answer and
say that
everything.
I got 5 people in me and I'm schizophrenic, I'm this, I'm that. You may be a lot of things, but you got a lot of emotion. We only use a certain percentage of our brain. What percentage of our brain do you use?
I think they say we only use 5 to 10%.
Exactly. And how big is the normal brain?
I think it's about 5 pounds.
You think about right about that. No, this guy is very knowledgeable. He's about the
I'm
source
just talking about the way you're saying it.
encyclopedia of
How is that?
bring it on,
Yeah.
George.
But I want to hop in because what I hear is you didn't let your ego get in the way.
So yeah, this is a theory that I've said years ago. The most sensitive thing is your ego. Male ego. If you mess with the wrong male ego, the war start. Global war, World War III.
That's why we where
And
we are.
what a lot of
Amen.
women don't understand is that ego. Some not putting every woman in a basket,
I feel
but
you.
in a general sense, women can trigger peace or problems based on what they say.
Oh, no, he didn't say
That's
that.
good. Peace
I
and
like that.
problems.
Yeah,
Trigger piece of problem.
yeah,
And I agree with it.
I do
I
too.
agree. And that don't have nothing to do with male or female. Truth is true.
right.
And we do. Because if I'm with a man and I see that he already upset, well, I'm gonna go poke the bear, getting smart, being flip, just antagonizing what he's already feeling and going through. When I'm supposed to be that calm, right? We supposed to be the calm for our storm, right?
Because some women love to see a triggered bear.
I believe it.
And
I
that's
used to
scary.
be her.
Listen,
That's
listen.
scary because what you just said and what he just said and what I'm saying is scary is because the limitations of it all. How far does this go? It affects the kids.
Absolutely.
It affects your family.
Yeah.
It affects all the surroundings that you have on both sides because you got his side, your side.
3 sides to each story.
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
side, my side, and
In
the
the
truth.
truth. That part.
Exactly. I just feel that everything that we as humans and Flintstones, I and I'm not going to just say just Flintstones. It happens all over, but because I'm from Flint, I got to stand on it. I think that a lot of us in this city need to be more kind to each other, give each other grace, as we said before, give yourself some grace. Um, make sure you allow a little bit of room for error because it's going to
Absolutely.
happen. You can't avoid
Absolutely.
trouble, right? You can't avoid it. You have to allow, like, for instance, if I'm driving down Saginaw Street, I know people constantly walk across the street jaywalking. Nobody cares about jaywalking. We just get out. But the thing is, I know that it's a possibility. Look, I'm not kidding. Somebody walking across the street right there. But anyway, I know that. But I also know that if I swerve around them and do something stupid or try to avoid them because I'm in a hurry or I'm not being patient, then now I'm causing a challenge that can happen to me, cause it, a ripple in my life. I'm like, "Hey, I can get stopped by the police. I might accidentally swipe a car, or I might hit that person as well because I'm angry because they're in my way and I'm trying to get down the street. Why are you crossing here? You're supposed to be crossing at the light where it says 5, 4, 3.
So so
It counts it down for
right.
you to walk.
So 3 days ago,
Okay.
I'm at what about rallies down the road. This guy, he just got off the bus. He's walking across the street. The light turns green. I go, and he tries to walk right in front of my truck. And I cussed him out, but I was, but it was just like a continuation of like, what's going, how are the stars aligned right now? Why is everything going on? Is something adjacent to
Ooh,
something that but
trigger things just
yeah,
kept happening.
what's going on is, but the thing was, I had to address that in me too. Like what he's going through shouldn't create an issue for me because
Absolutely.
obviously he got an issue. He either trying to die or he mentally dead.
Mm.
Ooh, that was deep,
And,
George.
and I can't
Mentally
I
dead.
can't go on that same path of being mentally dead because somebody's trying to die.
Mm, mm, mm.
I can't do
You know
that
I'm
favor.
writing something
I
about that.
can't
That's supposed to be
can't
up
do
in
that
there
favor.
somewhere.
So
Exactly.
even though I felt like doing the favor, like you really want to go, but then
Let me
But
help you out.
it
right,
would have changed your whole day.
it would have changed my
Change your
life.
life.
There we go.
Because
Change your life.
the thing is that I don't propose to be a violent or mean or aggressive person, but I don't I don't start it because growing up here, I ain't never been a starter. But when you started,
I finish
I
it.
like to go home too.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So some of those things going to what you're saying, people have to be positive to each other and be
A little
more
kind.
kinder. We live in a compressed environment.
Hmm.
Flint, in my opinion, is a case study city. It's a case
Wow.
study city where you have think tanks all over DC, all over wherever major corporations getting the analytics and the stats of Flint, Michigan, seeing how much pressure can you put
Can
on
you put
people,
on it?
black, white,
Wow.
or indifferent, before they implode.
When I read that poem, starting out pressing through. That's more reason why we need to press through because I never heard anybody say that. And you just said that in one of my next questions I have written here is pressing through. Stop being mean, ladies, men too,
Mhm.
and how we made it out of the jungle. But now
Boom.
we're here getting it out of the moon.
Right. But
You know what
still
I'm
live here
saying?
in the jungle.
But we still living
Still
in the
living in
jungle.
the jungle.
Right.
But where we came from, um, let's say how we want to put that about getting out of it.
So I would say what got me out of the jungle was shifting my mindset.
What got me out of the jungle was starting to listen to my inner self more and not allow other people's lifestyle to affect me.
Let me ask y'all a question. What was your age when that pivotal moment changed when in
My
your
Get a
mind?
pivotal
midlife crisis.
moment was
How old were
I was about 36. Yeah. It did
42.
it didn't come early because it was so deeply ingrained.
Ooh,
you?
It was so it was
embedded.
so much a part of who I
And you
was.
were still around the environment.
Exactly.
I was
Exactly.
42.
And that's
Yep.
I'm glad you said that because I didn't make that shift until I left. When I left, I was able to see that there's other things.
Right.
There are other people, places, and things that I can be a part of that didn't resemble what I come from,
Mm,
right?
Right.
And then when I came
powerful.
back, it was like, okay, it's still the same. I'm not the same.
Right. Right.
Amen.
Even though
That's what I'm
people still
talking
tried to
about.
put me in that box.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Yep. That's where I'm at.
calling me from what I did then, and I'm like, okay, but I'm 40.
Mhm.
Can we talk about something I've done since I've been
Mm-hmm.
grown?
What a positive at,
Yeah.
you know?
So I think it really starts with a lot of our community need to see something different.
Absolutely.
And so many people are so consumed of just what's here. Even though for years after I came back, I was like, oh, I hate it. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. But then when I began to move in purpose, on purpose, right?
Mm,
And I started connecting with different people in the city and out of the city.
right.
Then it became more of let me help them.
Hmm.
Let me I know where you coming from. I know what you've been a part of.
Right.
I know how it is.
And
I was in the same
that's the
street.
reason why I went from I'm always gonna be RBT, red bone trouble. That's where it started from, red bone trouble. But when my cousin was like, "You don't want to manifest trouble. Let's think of a new name." I got them brainstorming with my other cousin and came up with Real Blessings Thrive. Ever since I've been doing it, so many blissful things have been happening in my life and that I've been doing for other people. And it's because I chose to
Mhm,
do good out of all the bad things I know that I've been through. Because that's not me anymore. But
mhm,
unlike you, people try to hold that against you and look at you like, oh, look at it. You still there. Yeah, I am. That old trouble's still in here. But
mhm,
it's Terralisa that's shining.
mhm.
Terralisa
Yeah,
overpowering what trouble went through. I'm putting that past behind me and letting it settle down and do a thing. And I'm looking forward to real blessings thriving. So when I do these things at the cafe, people think, oh, I don't want to go. It's a club because everybody knows it's by rules. I mean, like, I'm not doing anything that's like the club. You got to come and experience it for yourself.
Yeah, it's real nice.
It's
It's real
chill.
nice.
It's just like how we're talking. We ain't got no food though. We got a lot of candy, y'all.
Ooh, that
I
sounds
put my hand
good.
out like this and George deliver.
yeah,
And I said I'm only gonna eat peppermint. And I ate another kind of candy today. Barbara done took over. But I'm gonna have this peppermint because he was so nice to have the table set up with me. That's what you do that for. I
I
hope so.
wanna go to the comments real quick.
Yeah, read some of those
One of the
comments. Hey
people said
y'all.
it's not what you do, but how you do it. How you do what you do. Situations can be handled tactfully.
Yes,
Um, I agree to some degree, and this is why I say that.
I agree.
Sometimes I don't know about y'all out there, but I've been in a situation where I tried to be tactful,
Mm.
but they just wouldn't accept it, right? Sometimes they just want that other side.
Like you
And
said
then
with the
when they
women,
get it, it's, oh my God,
now you're the problem.
how can she do that? So,
it's more than what they can handle. So
Exactly.
again, Flint is a particular place. It's space, and, you know, it, it- I consider us the hinge, like the most important part on the door.
Okay.
mm,
So wherever we go, when we're from here, we're the reason why I moved. You can lock it, you can do whatever you want to, but you can't move. You can't open it. You can push it, but it ain't gonna move without the hinge. And people from Flint specifically, we're hinge type people because we look across the street. We got a multi-billion-dollar philanthropist organization.
Mhm.
Down the street, less than a mile, we have some of the poorest folk in the nation, and we have some of the most educated people a quarter of a mile away from where we are, and less. And then we have some of the most illiterate people in the country in this city. So we come up from so much trauma and success that it's
Uh-huh.
almost like a psychotherapeutic situation where you like, is this real? It's like a surreal situation because
Hmm.
it's so close together. Because you can walk from paradise to pain in less than
Mm.
5 minutes. While when you're in other environments, you can see the transition in the way that the communities
Yeah,
change.
absolutely. Lord, you know
You
I'm
know
right in
what
that.
side of town you on, what side of the tracks you're on per se. But here, you just have to be from here to know here to understand here, and then you make a space and a place for yourself here,
Hmm.
and people learn how to be invisible. They'll-
Wow.
You got folks that have a lot of resources. You never know they got them.
And see, that's the things I'm trying to do is allow people with those resources. A lot of people with all that knowledge that ain't afraid to share it. Come out and let somebody know something. I'm not
Mhm.
telling you give people money. I'm not telling you to pay their bills and help them out, but word from people when a person knows that you've been through something or you've been through something or I've been through something and we still standing here out of the mud being able to talk about it and have some grace and gratitude and be
Mhm.
thankful for the things we had to learn to go through to get
Absolutely.
here. I'm willing to share any knowledgeable thing I know with anybody. But don't take it for granted that I'm trying to misuse you, take from you, or any of the such. All I want to do is help. That's what I do.
And I'm personally saying that people in other locations and stuff try you. Like when I lived in Georgia, Atlanta, it's like 2 years of my time there. I didn't hang with no Americans. I was around all different types of cultures, whether it be Nigerian or Kenyan or Haitian or Colombian, because or Asian. I learned Mandarin. I learned all kinds of different things. I had a lot of different cultures that I was around, and those that you would assume to be the toughest, roughest, and you don't want to mess with them because they're the stereotype that they get.
Mm.
And once I was triggered, they're like, man, please, you crazy. We get it.
Got
You
that
know what I'm saying?
mentality, right?
Because it's like I'm coming to learn. I'm trying to figure out what this African culture is about, what this South American culture is about. But you trying to think I'm short?
Mhm.
Like what's going on? Like you think that death don't happen here too, like it do in your country? Like what is you doing? It's like I came for peace,
Right.
Right.
and guess what? You in my backyard. I'm not in yours. I'm enjoying your culture, but when you want to go all the way and think that five versus one or community versus one is a scary thing, it's
Hmm.
like what we doing?
Mm. Listen, and that rolls right into the topic. Us Flintstones have have to fight. I've been told the people from Flint are just cool, but don't play in our face. And I would
That part.
I was gonna say I definitely agree with that. Like
Right.
I'm the coolest person you could ever want to meet.
That's how I
I give
am.
you the shirt off my
I just
back.
don't like
We
being
can have a
messed
good
over.
time. But don't play with me.
Right.
Don't do that.
And I'm the type of person, I'm easy
Please.
to get along. Even if I said something or did something you didn't like and you told me, I'd be like,
I,
oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, well, I won't do that again.
mm,
Or I try to figure out a different way for us to still be friends and do stuff. Even if it means I might not talk to you for a couple days. So
yeah,
that we both can get some space. But I'm still gonna call you.
exactly.
You my girl, you my dude, you my friend, we this, we that. But doing that playing in my face and thinking I'm stupid,
Yeah. That
that
is definitely a
that's a
trigger.
trigger for me.
That's a trigger
That's a
for
trigger for
sure.
me.
Is just I think the more you allow yourself, the more you hold yourself accountable for you, the less people do that. The less you come in contact with people
Walk
that
in your
will do that.
authority.
I think that our surroundings are based on who we are. If I wanted to um, be hood, stay hood, run in the hood, I would live in a certain spot, right? And
True
and
that.
I would do what they doing.
Yep.
But because that's not the life I want, I choose to live elsewhere.
Hmm.
And I think it really, I just want to hammer home. It starts with you.
Yeah.
I don't care what we talk about. I don't care how you feel about it.
Hmm.
I don't care what you thinking. If you are not willing to check you, you will remain in the same, the same.
And expect different things, which is called insanity.
Insanity.
So before we end, I want to say
I,
this.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
If I could.
Yeah, sure.
So, being that both of you have matured past certain parts of life, and knowing that you would succeed in other locations, in other cities, in other states, why stay in Flint?
I can answer that. I'm grounded here. I'll tell you why. And it ain't because of I love this city so much. I love what I'm doing in the city. I love the way the city has molded me to be the person I am. I do like that. And I feel like if I went anywhere else, I'm going to take this city Flint city attitude wherever I go. So why try to duplicate my life somewhere else when I know this is where my life is? This, when I write stuff in my books, I write based on lifestyle of what I live here. This is what's normal to me. Do I want a house somewhere else out of state? Sure, but this will always be my home.
Always home. For me, Flint is always home. I do plan to move away again. I came back and I stay for family. It is important to me that they receive the best of me.
Mm,
Um,
mm, mm.
because when I left, I was not.
I
She was
love
not her,
that.
right? And they got all of that, and I
Yeah,
want them to have it.
the best of you. Be the
So
better you.
that is why I stay. It came to a point. My parents weren't here. Um, most of my kids ain't here. Uh, but if once my parents are no longer in this city, I
Mhm.
probably won't.
Mhm.
And it's nothing against Flint because Flint raised me.
Right.
Like it taught me my survival skills
Right.
to
Exactly.
be able to go in other places and
Mhm.
do different things
Mm-hmm.
and be around different people and still protect myself. Right.
The
Um,
resilience. What I was saying
exactly the
earlier.
resilience.
Mm-hmm.
But is it my first choice? No. And that's not a slap on nobody because
Mhm.
I will always love this city.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But for what I want to do in life
Mhm.
before my dash date, um, I believe that
Great,
it
great
is
dash.
going to require me to be in a different environment.
Mhm.
And still surrounding ourselves around different people because there's a
Absolutely.
lot of people in the city of Flint that still hide in the shadows because they're not willing and able or ready to accept that change in their life. They don't want to do better. They want to stay stuck in that moment. Like, oh,
So
I'm used to this. I'm accustomed to this. I don't want to move. I'm trying to spread the knowledgeable thing to people that you can still stay in your little shell. And guess what? You're gonna get some cracks in that shell if you don't start poking that head on and venturing around and paying attention to your
and
surroundings.
here's another piece to that. Since I've been back since 2011. It's 2025. So how many ever the years that is? Um, it didn't stop me from doing the things that I desire to do because I travel. I get up and go.
Okay.
When I feel like the walls are closing, I'm leaving. I'm gonna hit the highway. I'm gonna catch a flight. I'm gonna,
But you know you can do that
but I know I can do that now.
now. Yeah.
But here's the thing: I don't think I would have got to this point just because I wasn't surrounding myself with people that said, "Hey, you can do some different things. I see the light in you.
Mhm.
You got what it takes." I didn't
Mm,
have that here,
that's why I
Right.
right?
surround
And
myself with
and
good.
and so it's no bad mark on Flynn. It ain't because the city and the water or the violence or because truth be told,
It's everywhere.
I've reached some havoc too, right?
Mhm.
It's not because of any. It's not because of any of that. It's just more a desire of what
Mhm.
I want,
Mhm.
and because I know who I am, and I'm
Hmm.
comfortable
Mhm.
in walking in my authority,
Yep,
right?
Mhm.
that's where
I'm
I'm at.
comfortable with that. I can say I could pick up and leave tomorrow,
Right.
right? But my roots are here. My family is here, and I just want them to see this piece of me too, and get to
I
experience
love
it,
that.
and really say, you know what? I remember when you did, but I also remember when you did,
Right.
right? So that's my whole thing.
I said that to my boss. I got really emotional talking to him about it because I am an emotional. But my thing was, I told him in the last 3 years, I feel I'm the better version.
Mhm.
I'm
And
the
it gets
better
better.
version of what I used to be. And I'm like you. I want people to see that. That's why I started writing more. I've been writing all my life since I was
Yes, you
14,
have.
but I started putting it in paper form on books. And then I've always helped people. I've always opened my home to people.
Yes, you
I've
did.
always done all these things, and yet I still got the end of the stick for the broken version of everything, or people get a broken version of me because I was battered and bruised and my soul
Mhm.
was tarnished and all these things. I started putting myself around people that garnish my soul and get me back uplifted so that I can do what I'm called to do
Mhm.
and do the things that make other people see the better things in themselves
And
Get
it
out of
is
the
people
mud.
here to
and
do
get it
that.
out of the mud.
And
I'm
it
serious.
Yeah, I am
Pushing
too.
through like a daisy through cracks. I'm trying to get it.
I mean, the name in itself is Flint,
Yes, it is.
100,000% out of the
yeah.
mud.
You
The
know,
thing,
um,
and that's one of the reasons why I haven't gone anywhere since I left the
next,
first time, is because things like this to create environment so people can see a difference, so that we can harness the greatness of our community,
Absolutely.
and,
absolutely.
and be better.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So I was going to say earlier too, like at the end of the day, you get to choose your next move. You get to choose your attitude on issues, and you get to choose your response, like you said earlier,
Mhm.
and you get to choose how you treat people. So at the end of the day, you still got to press through all the things that you're going through, all the endeavors that the world dumps on you. Your shoulders may not be as strong to hold those things, but as a unit together, as a community, as getting it out of the mud, as women like you and I empowering each other. And I'm telling you, this is what I do on a daily basis. I may pick up the phone and call somebody just to say I love you. I hope you're having a great day. You never know. There's power in the word. What you say that tongue is a
That
what? A
tongue,
double-edged
a
sword.
double-edged sword.
So every day that each of you all get up and wake up, you need to thank somebody for allowing you to wake up. I'm thanking the man above for
Yes,
waking
Lord.
me up.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus, every day. But I'm also thanking him for a lot of that I've been through, all the woes that I've been through, that I'm understanding that I'm only human. I am going to make mistakes. But to learn from those mistakes is my wrong that teach me to be right. So each and every one of you that's doing wrong, you know you're doing
Most times.
time to straighten your lives up. It's time to get it together. There's a process in all of this, right?
Yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
process of challenge, choice,
Choice and
and
change.
change. Because all these things come together to create you to be the better you. Okay.
I do. I do.
At this time, I'm going to let everybody know. Have a good day and tune in next week. And don't forget, letters to my Lord, whoever. I know y'all trying to find out who you are. You have feelings of life with all its ups and downs. It's right here for you. Oops. And then you have keep your faith in the Lord. That's what I do.
Man.
He's teaching me to live right, righteously, like, even though I'm still under construction. I do a lot of things that I'm not proud of people. I'm not holier than thou.
We
Thou
all
is
do.
holy to me.
Okay.
And as I keep building and keep trusting and focused, life will
Absolutely.
happen.
Focus on self. When you start with you can't go.
Absolutely. Thank you all for tuning in. Red alert, RBT snaps and chats.